Hi, I'm Dr. Ashley Holcomb, and today we're going to talk about rebuilding or building your friendship with your romantic partner. We're going to talk about why this is important, what can get in the way, and some practical ideas to help you rebuild the friendship in your relationship. Let's dive into today's topic. So, why does friendship matter in a romantic relationship? I think sometimes we end up really focused on the romance part of our romantic relationships or on issues of conflict. We think if we're going on more dates and we're fighting less, all the other problems will just sort of clear up. And we'll be back to this happy bliss that we were in when we first got together. I think it's great to work on the romance and to work on improving conflict skills, but friendship with our partner is actually really important. John and Julie Gottman, who are renowned relationship experts, say that friendship is the foundation to your relationship. The foundation. That means, first off, that everything else you build in your relationship has to be built on top of that friendship. And secondly, it means that if the friendship is weak, the rest of the house can crumble. One of the big ways that a house can crumble is when you've already become so distant that instead of seeing your partner as your friend, you see your partner as your enemy. Even completely neutral experiences start to become interpreted as negative or even hurtful encounters. How does this happen? Well, every day, you and your partner bid for each other's attention and affection. Everything from the smallest text to trying to start a conversation to initiating sex is a bid for the other person's attention and affection. And the way that we respond to our partner's bids for attention and affection really, really matter. If I respond in a positive way, that puts a little bit more in my partner's love bank. Every time I respond in a negative or in a neutral way, I'm actually taking out of my partner's love bank. So, as an example, if my husband says to me, "Hey, babe, did you see that thing on the news?" And I respond, "Yeah, what did it say?" I give him my attention, my eye contact, my smile. I ask him a follow-up question. That's a positive response to a bid for attention or affection. If I say something like, "What do you want now?" That's a negative response. And if I'm just sort of disengaged, maybe I'm flipping through my phone, uh huh, uh huh, that's a neutral response. I'm basically ignoring him. And you can see how these tiny little moments really add up in the long-term bank account of your relationship. I think there's also some cultural messages that can get us off on the wrong foot. If you initially started the relationship just hooking up or casually dating, and you kind of ended up in this long-term relationship, you may have never taken the time to really invest in the friendship element of the relationship. Another cultural message is the idea that my needs and wants as an individual are more important than those of the relationship. I think this is okay really early on because you're looking for red flags, you're understanding if this is the right relationship for you. But once you're in a committed relationship, what ends up happening is you have two people living together, maybe parenting together, but they have no common direction, no common goals, no sense of we or family, and you end up feeling really distant and alone inside of your own house. The last message is that parenting responsibilities are more important than your relationship. I want to reframe this for you. Your relationship is a parenting responsibility. Your kids are watching what you do, and they're eventually going to base their romantic relationships on what yours looked like. So it's really important that you spend time connecting and talking with your spouse, flirting with them, joking around, comforting each other. Your kids are watching that, and you're setting an example for them for the future. Let's talk about a few practical ideas to help you rebuild the relationship. The first is to make this an intentional choice and priority. Have a conversation with your partner to talk about how you can rebuild this relationship together. Secondly, pay attention to those bids for attention and affection. Are you connecting when your partner is trying to connect with you? Give them your full attention with eye contact, with a smile, no screens, no TV, no phone, not driving in a car, just the two of you looking at each other. Ask good follow-up questions that show that you're listening and you want to know what your partner is thinking and feeling. Find ways of showing your partner affection so that affection becomes just built into the very culture of your relationship and your family. And even set up a specific time every day to check in on how your partner's doing, to hear about their day, and to offer support. Next, focus on really getting to know your partner. You may have gotten to know them originally when you were dating, but things change over time. Who's your partner's current best friend? Who's the person at work that your partner can't stand? What's your partner's current TV obsession? What's the dessert they've been craving? Get to know all of these different elements of your partner. The Gottmans, the researchers that I talked about earlier, they actually have an app called Card Deck. And Card Deck has all these different decks of cards based on different topics. And you can pick a deck and ask your partner questions from that deck as a way of exploring different areas of your partner's inner world. Lastly, I want you to consider if you are thinking about this relationship as a we or as a me and this other person. This kind of gets into another area of relationships called shared meaning, which I can talk about in another video, but I think it's really important for the friendship element too, especially in light of those cultural messages we discussed. Do you know what your partner's needs, thoughts, and ideas are? Do you allow those needs, thoughts, and ideas to influence your decision making? Do you consider your partner's opinions as important and as equal to your own? Do you share your inner world with your partner? These are important questions. Thanks for listening to today's video on the friendship and relationships. For more information on this topic, don't forget to click below to subscribe and to check out my other content. Also, the Gottmans, these researchers I've been talking about, they have a great website called the Gottman Institute where they have a ton of different articles and videos and other resources for relationships. If this struck a chord with you and you can see how the friendship in your relationship is just not where you want it to be, and maybe it's even to the point where you've started to feel like your partner's your enemy and not your friend, don't wait another day to reach out for help. Check out the links in my profile for how to get access to therapy resources in your area.